Hello Internet, your friendly neighborhood gremlin here, and today we're going to go under the sea to do a build for Marina. We went into this build with absolutely zero ideas, and came out with a bunch of questionable decisions and David statues. You know, normal things. I do feel like this is a hole in the Animal Crossing build catalog, because they have floors and walls so you can make it look like you're underwater, but they don't have any of the physical decor stuff, like maybe some seaweed or some reefs or I don't know, just anything that would sort of sell the underwater theme. Also, can someone explain the Imperial Wall being in the order section? It doesn't seem to fit thematically at all. Anyway, we're gonna make our own questionable wallpaper decisions. Again, I didn't know what I was doing, and we used the Moroccan wall because I really like this wall. I think it's real cute, and we're gonna try something else later, and then we're just gonna accept that this is the correct wall. And while correct may be the wrong word to use there, because I'm sure there are other walls, and people would have preferred other walls. With all of the options I had at my disposal, this was the one that I liked best. So that was what we used. We spent a lot of time floundering here, trying to figure out what the hell it is we want to do with this, because at this point I don't know, and it doesn't look like it's under the sea, and it's just awful. And now we discover the castle wall. And we remember that we saw someone do a sandcastle build on the beach somewhere at one point. I don't remember who it was or where it was or what was going on, but someone did a sandcastle and they used these walls and it looked real good and like sand. So I thought, why don't we put the sandcastle under the sea? I mean, this makes no logical sense because the sand would just dissolve, but this is Animal Crossing, so logic be damned, I'm gonna have my sandcastle under the sea. So this room here ends up kind of like my dollhouse build, in that you're only really supposed to look at it from the front, and like the dollhouse build, we're gonna end up with some very questionable furniture placement choices, because really, where's the fun if you're not making a bunch of questionable decisions along the way? So we use this bamboo shelf, which I absolutely adore. I think it looks so cute right there, half covered by the sandcastle wall. I think it's really cute. Yeah, here we were trying to fix the wallpaper again. We just go back to what we had. I did try to go full underwater, but I wasn't sure that I liked it. I feel like looking at it now, that may have been the better decision and what I should have done. Again, the amount of things that I wish I could change while I'm sitting here editing or talking to you guys through the build is astronomical. I think this is a common human experience, but I could be wrong. Maybe you're just super sure of all of your decisions. And if that's true, I'm happy for you. I just can't relate. What we're doing now is struggling to put chairs around that shell table. I don't know, maybe it's because it's round or something, but I just couldn't make it work. So instead, we just put a bunch more mermaid items in. I don't have that many of the mermaid items, which is kind of a shame. I really need to spend more of this game playing the actual game and not just decorating villager houses in HHP. But in all fairness, I have all of the sea creatures that I could have caught up until this time in my game. And it's not my fault that Pascal just keeps giving me pearls instead of DIY recipes. I do really wish we had more statues that were as large as David. I don't know, I think the size of him is just right. I like how big and imposing he feels, and all of the other ones feel really small in comparison. Even my favorite statue, which is the angel wings one, I don't know what that one's called in real life. Or in the game, actually. No idea. But we are going to use her upstairs in our little treasure trove. And here we are going to shrink the room back down because we realized it was too hard to make it look good from all angles and decided we were just going to do the front on kind of deal, which I think all things considered really worked out in the end. I do think I'm actually really very happy with this build. I also just totally forgot to take those little fish off the wall. I put them up there because I thought they might be cool and then just forgot they were there and didn't take them down. I really hate the coffee table I had to use. We literally just used the cool one because it came in all white. Do they have a mermaid coffee table? Is that just something I'm missing? Or do you know of a better coffee table I should have used? I also just kind of shoved these plants in there, hoping that maybe it would look like they were undersea plants. Obviously, that's not what it looks like at all. It looks like 2 potted plants. But it really was the only option we had, and so we went with it. So here we're going to put in that little cancer table and a little shell music box to go on top, after which we are going to come to what I'm calling the best decision I made in this build, changing the light color, which I really think sells the sort of underwater kind of theme. I think it looks really good. I really like it. And of course, we remember to add one of those underwater soundscapes, which is truly an impressive feat because I very rarely remember that that's a thing that you could do. So here we are upstairs, and this build may require a little bit more of an explanation, I suppose. Essentially, Marina said under the sea, and I heard under the sea and thought, well, why don't I do a Little Mermaid build? So I looked into it a little bit. I'm not super familiar with the Hans Christian Andersen fairy tales. They're kind of all just a little bit depressing. I mean, the man had a kind of depressing life, so you can't really blame him. Just take, for example, the ugly duckling. which people are going to tell you that the moral of a story is like, don't judge a book by its cover, or be yourself and people will like you. But they don't like him until he becomes a swan. And I mean, that's just like luck of the draw, that he happens to be a swan. Not all the weird outcast people make fun of are going to mold themselves into something socially acceptable and then be accepted. If he didn't end up conforming to society's norms, they still wouldn't have liked him. He becomes a swan, and then they're like, oh shit, now you're pretty. Guess we shouldn't have been mean to you. Sorry. That doesn't say be yourself, it's okay. It says conform yourself to society and you'll be okay. Otherwise, you're kind of screwed. And to be fair, I do believe that this is what Anderson meant to be taken away from the story. Like, if you look at his life, kind of is The Ugly Duckling, where he was kind of weird and outcast as a child, and then he started writing stories and became a successful author, and then people liked him. Sorry about that. It's just one of those things I feel weirdly passionate about that nobody seems to talk about. Like, even in my fairy tale class, they were trying to peddle this it's okay to be you storyline, and I was like, this is college in fairy tale class. Why do you not understand how this is supposed to be told? Or maybe I'm just like straight up insane, but I don't know how it is you can read it the other way. Back to the build. Essentially what happened was there aren't really very many iconic places that I thought I could rebuild in Animal Crossing from the original Little Mermaid fairy tale. And the only thing that really sort of came to mind was Ariel's little cove where she keeps all her treasures and stuff, which obviously in the Disney version is this like beautiful, wonderful thing that there's no way I was gonna be able to get across in Animal Crossing just because we can't put things on the walls and stuff. It was just too ambitious and it wasn't gonna work, and it just seemed kind of like a waste of time. But also we sort of had it in my head, and I just kind of wanted to make a little one place where she could keep all her like people treasures, I guess. I don't know. Marina lives on land now, so I suppose she doesn't need a cove full of treasures. But it seemed like a fun, cute idea. And again, this is like an entirely unfunctional room. I'm pretty sure you can't even step into it, and I do wish it were brighter. I probably should have done the lighting differently, and maybe added that blue cast on the walls as well. But it ended up the way it ended up, and it's all anyone can ask for, I suppose. The outside of the build ends up being kind of like a non-event compared to the inside, and I do think had I known what I was doing and was going to end up with sandcastles, I probably would have put her on a beach instead of the stone. I probably should have put her on a beach anyway. Somehow my brain goes under the sea, stone. It doesn't make any sense. Under the sea is very clearly sand. I never claimed to be an intelligent human. So anyway, we are making ourselves another sandcastle, and I put it in the dark so it kind of looked like it might have been under the sea, maybe. We don't end up with a lot of stuff out here. I did try the David thing again, and it doesn't work. Somehow I thought that I'd put a David in upstairs, but apparently I hadn't. And then we just add a bunch of bubble machines, because I thought that might also make it look like it was under the sea. I'll let you determine how successful you think that was. Maybe I should have put more bubble machines inside. It would have been cool, but also there wasn't anywhere to like really hide them. Probably could have hid some upstairs, but again, I used every available floor space for absolute junk. But that was also kind of the plan. And I'm using that little vine thing that I use everywhere and kind of pretending that it might be seaweed. This is an extremely questionable decision, but also at this point in the build, I kind of thought it might be fun. And then I didn't have time to talk myself back out of it. And so there it stays. And here I am. I'm going to try and put seats around that little shell table again, because A, she needed the table, so it had to be in there somewhere. And B, I thought maybe it could work. I think I might give up on the seats. I don't remember. I could probably just scroll forward slightly, but I'm also not going to. Also just know that if it were me now, I definitely would have gotten rid of the seats. I don't know how we would have justified the table. Maybe we would have just put it there and said, fuck it. And now we're just going to put things in all those little towers, which is something I don't usually do, but also somehow thought was a good idea at this point in time. Probably not a good idea. But we are done. Congratulations, you've made it to the end of this video. So let's watch Marina enjoy her underwater palace. Let me know what you think, or what you did differently, or tips you have that I could have done differently. Anything's always helpful. And then of course we dress ourselves in Little Mermaid outfits, and we wear the exact same thing, but in different colors. Anyway, do like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Goodbye!